Thank you and good morning. It looks like the Chinese blessing to live in interesting time is becoming a kind of a curse these days. And these are special days. We are here in London after the British decision, the Brexit, which is quite a dramatic decision, an internal issue for Britain, but I would not refer to this as such, but I would like to refer to something that's happening not only in Britain, but in the entire world. It looks that the world that we know is changing. We have this terrorists, Islamists group that are using terror, spreading fear. They would not accept our values. We see the demolition and changes of states in the region with refugees that are coming here and to Europe to look for new home for them and their families. And this is something that leads to xenophobia, to isolation, to ultra-nationalism, and this is something that really threatens our values. It looks like leadership that is using, in a way abusing, these feelings of fear and hatred is gaining and getting the support, while leaders and parties that are making the moral decisions in accordance to our values, these are losing politically. And we see it all over Europe these days. And I believe that as we need to fight together terror, and we need to have a coalition against terror, I do believe that we need to have a new coalition of liberal forces in the world, those believing in democracy, those believing in the values that we all share, in order to fight for the world that was built after the horrific of the Second World War. This is the war and the battle of the free world. We all need to cooperate in this, not only military, but also in a political matter in order to defend our values. Now, Israel and Britain are allies in the fight against terrorism. Israel and Britain are democracies. In both Israel and Britain, we have respectable, and rightly so, legal system. Israel has a legal system that we all are proud of, that is taking action. Also, when Israel is acting against terror, when there is any violation, not only of the international law, but also of the ethical code of the army. And we, and I, support the legal system of Israel, even though there's a political price to it. Now, the fact that Israeli leaders, decision makers, and Israeli army commanders are forced to participate in a kind of the theater of the absurd when we come to London, this is something which is not acceptable. It's not a personal issue, it's a moral issue, and this is something that needs to be changed. In fact, the British legal system is being abused, and we cannot allow the law to be abused as a weapon by those who seek to blur the moral distinction between those fighting terror and those defending against it. Now, we should, Israel and Britain, should be allies also in common sense as well. Just yesterday or 2 days ago, Hamas targeted a civil children's center in Sderot. Thank God it was closed. And we have, as decision makers in Israel, and on this it's not important whether it's coalition or opposition, to defend the Israeli civilian's life. So I'm proud in the decisions that I've made as a cabinet minister in the Israeli government. I would never ask the world to turn a blind eye to what Israel is doing in its fight against terror, but I want the world to judge us in accordance to your values as well, to their values as well. Now, as there is no legal system in the world that make a compromise or any equivalence between a car accident or a premeditated murder, I would not and we should not accept any equivalence between those that are fighting terror and between the terrorists themselves. For them, they have inquiries when they miss the kindergarten or the civilians, we have inquiries when, unfortunately, and this happens in war, we have civil casualties in our war against terror. So Israel is a democracy who knows how to supervise our own not only law but also ethical code and system of values. And as we respect what Britain is doing against international terror, and Israel is open for any British minister to come and visit Israel without questioning him about his decision in the British cabinet against international terror, my expectations, our expectation, is that Israel would be respected here in its need to fight against terror, and this, we would not be questioned about this. It's not only my expectation, these are the expectations of the State of Israel. So speaking about values and speaking about the democratic values, I would like to say that Israel, as a member of the free world, and Israel is a democracy, Israel is the nation state of the Jewish people. And our responsibility as Israeli leaders is to keep the values of Israel as a Jewish democratic state living in harmony and not in contradiction. But in order to do so, we need also to open a completely new and different dialogue between Israel and the free world, and between Israel and the world Jewry. And first of all, I would like to thank the members of the Jewish community who came here today to listen to us. I know that you truly care for the future of the State of Israel. I know that, like all of us, are in pain when we are facing terror in Israel. And today in Israel is the day of funerals of those that were just killed last week. And the understanding that we are together is part of the inner strength of the Israeli society. But we need to change the dialogue, because the old dialogue was Israel saying to the world Jewry, okay, we are here for you as a safe and secure shelter in case of anti-Semitism. You are welcome to come, but you need to stand with us no matter what, and not criticize us when the Israeli government policy is different from what you believe is the right policy or the right vision for the State of Israel. What I want to say to the world Jewry is that Israel is your home, but not only from a technical point of view as a self-shelter in case of anti-Semitism, and Israel is also strong enough to hear criticism when it comes within the family, and we are all one family. And it's about time that we'll be together, not just to be against our enemies, not to be together because there are those that are against us, but we need to be together because we have a shared vision. And we need to be united when we are talking about our values, about our vision. Now, we don't need to invent this vision again today. It's written in the Scroll of Independence when the State of Israel was established. And the meaning in one sentence is that Israel is hopefully a secure but a Jewish democratic state in the ancient land of Israel. But I would like to focus in two words: Jewish democratic state. We are all talking about these two words, speaking about Jewish democratic state, but yet we didn't decide what is this Jewish state. And we have a lot of democracies in the world, but we didn't decide how to keep and preserve the democratic values of the State of Israel. Now, this is important, because the obvious of 1948, when the State of Israel was established, is not obvious anymore. When it comes to the concept and the idea of Israel as a nation state of the Jewish people, I hear more and more questions about what does it mean. And when Israelis feel that we are the Davids of the region, because we are a small state surrounded by enemies, when the world is looking at Israel, instead of looking at Israel from a satellite point of view, oops, it's becoming a Google Earth point of view. And what the world is seeing is David and Goliath, but in a different manner. What they see is the Israeli soldier and the Palestinian child. So for them, there is a huge gap between us, between our values, between the way we feel, and between the world, the way the world is looking at us. More than that, when it comes to the Jewish communities, there is a kind of an erosion also of the understanding of Israel. I mean, I see young people here, and I'm very glad to see these young people here. But when I meet and have meetings with Jewish leaders and Jewish friends, what they say to me is that, listen, our parents, basically they're my age, so our parents, the grandparents, they cried with joy when the State of Israel was established. It was really the miracle. And Israel is. And their children, talking about my age and even older, they were terrified when the State of Israel was under attack in 6 Days War and in Yom Kippur War. But their grandchildren, when they are looking at Israel, sometimes they ask question, what is Israel? And unfortunately, sometimes they feel uneasy to stand with or to defend Israel in the campus. And this is true for Britain, and this is also true for the United States. So we need to define first to ourselves, what does it mean, this Jewish democratic state, and to do it again. So is Jewish state means an halachic state? No way. Israel is a Jewish state not from a religious perspective, but from a national perspective. And the Jewishness of the state should not be the monopoly of the ultra-Orthodox parties in Israel. Because I said that we are one party, we are one family, we are one people. We can pray in different ways, in different languages, in different lyrics, but yet we share the same history, the same culture, the same religion in different ways, but also the same values. And this is something that we need to reestablish. That Judaism is also a matter of values, because this is something that was forgotten during the years of the establishment of the State of Israel. And therefore, when we are speaking about the Jewishness of the State of Israel as a matter of values, it is also clear to me that the Jewish values can live and should live in harmony with the democratic values. Because democracy, for me, is not only system of election, but it is also a system of values. And therefore, we need to keep, and this is our responsibility as Israeli leaders, to keep the values of Israel as a Jewish democratic state living in harmony and not in contradiction in Israel. And it is also something which is the obvious for me, but it's becoming less and less obvious in Israel, that Israel is the nation state of the Jewish people with equal rights to all its citizens. Because equality is not just a matter of democracy, this is part of our Jewish values, and it's not a favor that Israel as a Jewish state do to Israel as a democratic state. This is part of our Jewish values as well as this is part of our democratic values. But, well, this is nice to speak about it, but in the end, there is a moment in which the democratic values of Israel can be in contradiction with the nature of the State of Israel, of a Jewish state, and this is the moment in which we lose, and hopefully we would not, the Jewish majority in this tiny place. And therefore, from my perspective, the idea of two states for two peoples is the way to keep and preserve the values of Israel as a Jewish democratic state. It's not a favor to the Palestinians, it's not a favor to the international community. This is part of our values, and this is the way we need to act. So it's not a matter of who has more rights on the entire land between Jordan River and Mediterranean Sea. I believe in the rights of the Jewish people on the entire land. Frankly, I was brought up, my parents were, well, here in Britain, freedom fighters. They all fought against the British mandate before the State of Israel was established, imprisoned, by the way. So they believed in Greater Israel. By the way, both sides of the Jordan River. But yet, according to their values, I believe that our choice is between having Greater Israel, but the meaning is that the State of Israel would stop existing as a Jewish state or as a democracy, or to live, to have the State of Israel on part of the ancient land of Israel, but yet to keep its values as a Jewish democratic state. In my choice, between the state of Israel and the entire land of Israel, my choice is the state of Israel. Now, just a short story, since I was talking about my parents. Well, my mother, as I said, she was really a great believer of greater